anyway, there I was in Sacred Heart, and I remember, this was quite young, we were maybe in 4th grade, still prepubescent, and the nun was talking to us about the dangers of mixed marriage, by which she did not mean the danger of marrying another race, but the danger of marrying a Methodist. But it was too late, because love was on the move in America even then, and my Aunt Lola from Mexico married my Uncle Krishna from Bombay, India. Yes. The rest of you had your white Christmases. We used to have brown Christmases. Here they would come. The Turbans would come for Christmas dinner, and my uncle's sister, Dr. Gupta, who ended up owning vast portions of real estate in the Western Addition here in San Francisco. She was a small woman, but fierce. And she would raise her hands over the turkey and would chant. This was the 1950s. She would chant in a Hindu hymn over the turkey, and the turkey did not flinch. There was problems. There were problems in Sacramento. By the age of about 11, I began to realize something was wrong. I was in love with the wrong sex. His name was Buddy, and I couldn't get enough of his face. And one day, just fooling around, I threw a hammer at his face to make it go away. Don't worry, I didn't hit him. My aim was never very good. I didn't get those dimples. He turned out in a few years to be a semi-pro baseball player, so his reflexes were very fast. And I grazed his shoulder, big deal. Anyway, that night, the mothers were on the telephone. And I was in the other room listening. And I heard my mother start laughing, so it'll be all right. I was not going to be in trouble. And she said something, accented though clear. Boys will be boys, she said. By which she meant boys will fight with boys. It's to be expected. Nothing surprising there. But even then I thought to myself, precocious little Richard, even then I thought to myself, if she knew the truth, that the reason I had thrown the hammer at Buddy's face was because I had a crush on him, the ceiling would have fallen down. There would be such wailing. It was okay that we fought. It was not okay that we were in love. I used to go to the library and read these books, looking for myself in these books, not the gay story, but the exceptional story. It was always in a footnote. The story about the South, the pre-Civil War South, and there would be some notation in the tiniest footnote about a slave owner marrying one of his slaves. And then when he died, he left his wife their slaves. And I wanted to go there. What was that story? Nothing. The page passes. In the middle of this recollection of these violent battles on the Great Plains between cowboys and Indians, people slaughtered on both sides, bodies defiled, there would be a brief notation about a mountain man last seen leaving the battle scene with an Indian woman. Where were they going? Las Vegas? I wanted to go with them. I remember talking once to Bill Clinton. Never trust Bill Clinton in a conversation like this when it comes about sex, but he was talking about, he said he's 1/16th American Indian, and I wondered about that. Who was she? Who was he? When did that happen? How did that happen? How does that happen in our lives? Where is that story? Sometimes I think when I hear "don't ask, don't tell," these military men with all their pretty buttons coming on Meet the Press, saying how detrimental it will be if people are in love in battle, that they might even be fighting side by side with someone they love. How the only concern that I have as a general is whether my soldiers shoot straight. I do not want him falling in love. I travel a great deal in the world, and as all of you who have traveled in foreign places know, there are lots of gay people who are not in any sense out, but you recognize each other immediately. Immediately. When you talk in America about the freedom to say, "I am gay," realize the inhibition, the danger, the necessity for silence in the world. Sometimes I think repression is not such a bad thing. I'm sitting in Cairo at a cafe with this very beautiful Egyptian man. In the middle of the conversation, he reaches over and holds my hand. If this happened in San Francisco, I would, of course, know what that meant. But in Egypt, it means in a society where I cannot touch her, that sexual energy comes in the form of a certain kind of intimacy, heads coming close together, a whisper in a crowded cafe, and the hand on a hand. A lot of us learned not to join Dignity or GLAD. A lot of us learned to keep quiet, which is what I learned. To repress, to go through life, to be a good student. There is something to be gained from that, something to be gained from putting one's energies not in dating, but in studying Latin. And there's whole armies of us. The choir director at the Baptist Church, policemen, teachers, lots of teachers. Secrets. Everywhere secrets. But in a world where I cannot say, "I love you," I will care for this room of 30 students. You understand? The generosity of it. In a congregation where I cannot say, "I love him," I will make the choir sing. I was in Darfur recently, and I met her. And I knew her immediately, the lesbian woman, who has spent all of her life going from one calamity to another, in part because she cannot say, in the Poland where she comes from, "I love her."